it doesn't. People. Here's the other reflex argument people say is, well, are you telling me it would take tens of thousands of people would have to be in on this conspiracy? No, it wouldn't. I mean, if you don't understand compartmentalization, join the military. Because in the military, you have the private ranks, E1, 2, and 3. Okay? They don't know anything. They're just doing what they're told. In fact, you often hear, you're not paid to ask questions. Just do what you're told. Or, if you question your orders, I mean, you get Article 15. You get chastised. You get, punished. An E4 that commands a E1, 2, or 3 only knows what the E5 tells him. The E5 only knows what his platoon sergeant, E6, tells him. The E6 through the E9 ranks, they only know what they need to know proportionate to their rank and their military assignment. And the commissioned officers know less than the highest commissioned the highest non-commissioned officer, i.e. Command Sergeant Major class person, would know less than a warrant officer first W01. And a W01 knows less than a CW5, Chief Warrant 5. And a Chief Warrant 5 knows less than a second lieutenant in the commission ranks. And a second lieutenant knows less than a first lieutenant, knows less than a captain, all the way up to the 4- and 5-star generals who themselves take orders from civilians in the Department of Defense, ultimately answering to the president. So when you understand how compartmentalization works, and in security clearances add a whole nother layer to this. You could be an E5 sergeant with a top secret security clearance and know more than a major or a colonel in the officer ranks as an E5 sergeant, because your security clearance makes you privy to specific information that is critical to whatever job assignment you have that the other guy doesn't need to know anything about. So when you take that to things like NASA and pilots and things like that, most of these people wouldn't have to have a clue. Joe Blow, rocket scientist, he thinks he's building rockets, and he is. He's building rockets to get put on a rocket pad and get sent up somewhere. But then he loses contact with them for an extended period of time. And then other people are trained on equipment to understand the readings on the thing that they put on the launch pad, and they're watching blips and data. Well, they're trained on a piece of equipment to understand what the blips and data means. They don't know where it's coming from. They think it's coming from the thing that was launched off the pad, but who's to say it's the same information couldn't be beamed to them in that period where everybody loses communication from someplace else? I mean, they got $2.3 billion to play around with, so it's not unreasonable for me to believe that they, whoever they are, that could be perpetuating a conspiracy, are lying to their own people, so they don't question. Nobody questions anything. They just go to work and do their job. And then later, something falls from the sky and good, honest, patriotic, and maybe even godly people go pick them up, in the ocean or on the launch landing pad. And so the vast majority of people wouldn't have to know anything. And so it makes me wonder if that's not the reason why most, if not all of our astronauts, just like our presidents, are Freemasons.
Oh, yeah.
And if you watch the press conference of Apollo 11, especially the beginning of it, I posted it yesterday on my Facebook page. Those guys look messed up, man. You got 3 guys that, if it was me, I mean, dude, I get excited if I go to the park, and I get on a cool ride and I want to tell everybody about it. Man, that ride was awesome, at Six Flags. These guys supposedly went and stood on the moon, and yet they look like zombies, like drones. And when you listen to Neil Armstrong start his speech, it's almost as if, he's facing this way to the camera. It's almost as if he has an earpiece in this ear that you can't see the way he's talking. He says a few sentences and then says a few more sentences. And then, it looks like he's being fed information that he's relaying. And then when they start putting images up on the screen, all of a sudden, all 3 of them start coming alive. And now I understand stage jitters and stuff, and you could be a pilot and all that and be like terrified to speak in public. I get it. Something's not right with that, though. It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't look right. Now, could we be looking at MK Ultra? I don't know. All that stuff came out of the 50s and 40s and everything too. So, when they started putting pictures up, did the programming kick in? I don't know. but I mean, if we can play the tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy, you could see how these things could play out to make you know what I mean, for that to make sense. But then again, maybe they did go to the moon. I don't know. It's very suspicious to me, and the fact that we lose contact with airplanes over the southern hemisphere, and we lose contact with space shuttles and probes and everything else that goes over the Indian Ocean, that's awfully convenient to me. When you're looking at it.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely something going on. I mean, if this turns out to be true, this would by far be the biggest conspiracy. I mean, what else would be bigger than that?
I joked about it the first time I interviewed Mark Sargent. I said, man, if this is true, this is the mother that gave birth to the mother of all conspiracies. You know, I mean, it is. But I can conceive of how that could be. And if I can think of how it could be, I mean, come on. These people who have access to unlimited money, resources, everything else, and groups of people that, I mean, really, if I can conceive of it, surely it's way smarter and wealthier and, you know, people with access to more resources could think of the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And even more than that, an ancient evil that's been around for ages and ages.
Truly.